What is Manchester? Where did it come from?
Inner Manchester.
Outer Manchester. Fate Rivers? Just what is going on here? In this episode, I'll be exploring Manchester, how things have changed over time, and what it means to be a Mancunian today. But things have changed, but one thing that doesn't change is past.
Not long after Jesus was dead, the Romans built a fort in what is now called Castlefield. They named it Mancunian, which, translated into English, means breast hill.
It's funny to think that ages ago, there were Romans stood right here where I'm standing. Old Pollux and Janus just doing their thing. Marvellous. Looks now like a breast though. I feel like Tommy Robinson right now. This is brilliant. Oh, dead. Oh, whatever that is, Roman. Romans, despite being pretty hard, they're a bit domestic with the locals and had to go home. Most recently, loads of cannons fired willy-nilly in a civil war between the naughty king and the smelly peasants. The long straight road that is Deansgate was once the firing range. Take that, you round-headed quims! I think there was once a battle here. Now, we won't be able to tell because of the aquatic centre. Instead of balls out of cannons, you've got kids shot out of slides. We want a body of water to stare into, which isn't full of kids. I know just the place. And it's historical. Looking at a Manchester canal today, it makes me think, what's the point of such a dirty waterway running through a city? You might even think, is it just polluting the environment like a globule, giving you a dicky heart? But what happens if I told you that 200 years ago, this was one of the biggest boatways in the north? Manchester was the heart of the cotton industry, making over 8 billion yards of cloth every year. That's a load of woolly jumpers. Unlike woolen jumpers, however, these factories were cold, harsh places where little uns would be running around for hours for bugger all. I want you to take a look at your kid now and imagine them working in such a horrible place. If you don't have a child to hand, imagine a cat or one of your weird looking dogs. We all know that cats like yarn. Well, this yarn bites back. Manchester was a prosperous place, yet it was also a bit grim. People had to go without a lot of food, and there wasn't a Mackey's back then. What I want to find out was what it was like for young, vulnerable boys and girls at the time of the Mancunian Industrial Revolution.
To find out more about past, I have come to the University of Manchester, a really old place for young people. I'm here with Stanley Peters, an expert in Mancunian history. I wasn't expecting such a young face to know so much about the annals of time.
So, Stan, we've been mooching around some rather cold cotton mills making this documentary. Can you tell us a bit about them?
Well, I think you'll find that most of these mills were pretty hot. A mixture of the looms running non-stop and the stifling air would have been very unhealthy.
And I'm thinking that these kids would be able to apply to work on these looms?
Well, they wouldn't have applied to work there. They were forced to work there, some for as little as £1 a day.
Wow, that's nothing, isn't it? What a rip-off. But would they be able to pick which loom they worked on?
Well, it wouldn't really matter, Francis.
Well, why not?
Whichever loom you work on, it's still going to be pretty horrific, isn't it?
Well, they'll get to make friends, play out on the weekends. You know, that's quite nice stuff.
After 16-hour shifts for 7 days a week, do you think they would have had much time to go out and play?
But that does include overtime, though.
I'm not sure you're getting it, Francis. Back then, overtime and weekends, they didn't exist. You either had to work or beg.
Wow, Oliver Twist. Well, could you tell us a little bit more about these cotton prisons?
The sound of the looms would have been deafening. Imagine 10 big passenger planes all taking off at the same time.
Whoa, that is loud. Cat would have hated it in there.
Sorry?
No, I'm sorry. Thank you for speaking to us. Manchester doesn't seem so loud these days, but there's still some places where you can experience such a deafening racket. Imagine a cat up there. One place where you'd have to be quiet is in the library, where great minds would have played philosophical tennis with each other. A different kind of racket. In 1848, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels served up an ace of their own when they penned the Communist Manifesto right here in Manchester. 15 love. Marx's ideas to shape the future of the world with his next book, Das Kapital, becoming a bestseller. 30 love. Marx's economic proposals were the biggest influence of the 20th century, with the Russians, Chinese, and even the little old Cubans becoming communist. Game, set, match, Marx. Good game, good game. Pleased to meet you. I'm here with Martha Campbell-Jones, the go-to gal for Marx-related info. Martha, just how much impact did Marx have on Manchester?
Well, he didn't actually have much of an impact here. He lived here for a couple of years and then moved on to London later in his life. Engels, on the other hand, stayed in Manchester and wrote extensively about the place, hence why we have this lovely statue built here.
But Marx would be the front man. You know, like Freddie Mercury.
Well, he was the front man in the sense that many people recognise him, what with the big Father Christmas beard and the frizzy hair.
I see.
In your analogy, Freddie Mercury had Brian May to help write the songs. I suppose Engels could be Brian May in this situation.
So Roger Taylor, who would he be?
Well, we're getting a bit too in-depth here now, Francis. What's important is that Engels was just as important as Marx, perhaps even more so.
There's still something that's really troubling me, Lo.
About Marx?
No. I'm just trying to think where a band like Maroon 5 would fit in with all this. There'd be Lenin.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who Lenin is?
No. The band. You said the band. Anyway, Lenin was a devout follower of Marx's writings. He then went on to lead the Bolsheviks and the revolution and so on.
Oh, well, I hope they didn't hurt anyone.
Why don't you ask the Tsar about that?
All right, think I will. All right, see you. Sorry, see ya, bye. So, turns out it's going to be pretty difficult to get Tsar on the phone. But my conversation with Martha has really enlightened me as to how much influence Marx's manuscripts had on the rest of the world. Not only was Manchester a central hub for commerce, but it also helped spread the infection of revolution across the globe. I've learned a lot about Manchester these past few days, like how loud cotton can really be, to how a bearded bloke sitting alone in a corner can change the world.
Now, with these lessons flowing through my mind, I look down at the water of Manchester and see the reflection of the people who once graced this city and think, maybe this water isn't so dirty after all.
My battle's just beginning.